Lamont Roach gets back-to-back draws, or should I say Drawmont Roach. The man can't stop getting these draws. Your boy Ego gonna talk about it. Spoiler alert. If you're looking for who's to blame, don't blame boxing. Don't blame the judges. Look no further than Lamont Drawmont Roach. And in this video, your boy Ego will explain why. Ha ha! What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, the day after, Pitbull Cruz and Lamont Roach fought to a draw in San Antonio, Texas. Different people feel different types of ways about it. Some people are saying that Lamont should have won. Some people are saying Pitbull was robbed. I seen a pretty mixed bag, right? And I'm not even just talking about fans. Even the crowd that was live, pro boxers I'm talking about. Like I seen an interview with Errol Spence. And Errol Spence said it was a close fight, but he edged it to Pitbull Cruz. Frank Martin was on the card, got a sensational knockout. Sensational, right? Frank Martin did an interview and said pretty much the same thing. Close fight, but he gave a slight edge to Pitbull Cruz. And if I'm not mistaken, Gary Russell Jr., who was also in attendance, said the same thing, right? There are a lot of fans who feel it was split as well. I looked at my comments and it was a mixed bag. Now, for starters, that shows you part of the problem. A little bit of subtle foreshadowing. Fans are split, which means Lamont Roach, because there's this brigade, this Lamont Drawmont Roach militia, and they're trying their hardest to paint this narrative of a robbery. But I just gave you examples of respected fighters: Errol, Gary Russell Jr., Mr. Gary Russell Jr., and Frank Martin, who was on the card, and they had it going towards Pitbull. So that shows me the problem is, in fact, Lamont Roach. He cannot seem to show the separation needed, right, in some of these recent fights. It's, you're doing very good in spots, but it's you're not turning over the engine. Like, you ever had an old school car, right? And in the dead of winter, it's a cold day, you go to start the engine, and then the engine it sounds like it's trying to start up and ignite and get you going, but right? And it's not cranking over. It's not quite turning over. And I feel like that is kind of what's going on with Lamont Roach fights. It's not that he's fighting horribly or bad, but there's something you're doing where in your last two fights, we'll just focus on those, your last two fights, you are not all the way convincing the judges. And then post-fight, you're like, hey, this is some BS. Oh, my gosh. I just need a fair shake. They keep robbing me, yada, yada, yada. You're getting a fair shake. And this is coming from somebody who I told you I probably would have shaded the fight to Lamont Roach, me scoring it. But I was just kind of watching. I didn't do a watch party. I was kind of just watching as a fan. I didn't record my actual score and tabulate it and tally. I was just kind of watching boxing like I've done before I was doing boxing as a content creator, right? And from the eye test, I'm pretty good with, making it make sense. and getting a fair score without like writing it down. But when I really, really want to lock in, I write down all my rounds, because the human brain is not meant for you to just store a bunch of information and data, right? That's why I believe in writing things down. Start your day on paper, right? Because you're not meant to, I just have brain dumps where I got to do this, this, and this, and it's better to get it out of my brain. But nonetheless, I'm pretty good when it comes to scoring, even if I don't write it down. And I would have shaded the fight to Lamont Roach, but there's something he's doing that's leaving more to be desired, and then you can't complain about it. You can't cry about it. So let me give you guys some real-time examples, because in my unpacks, I really get busy. I really unpack it for you guys. And I'll give you guys some insight. Lamont Roach, the first 3 rounds, he really started the fight with the wrong game plan. This is my opinion, obviously, right? The totally wrong game plan. He fought early on like, I got to prove something, and I want to show I could trade with this dude. You get in life, sometimes you get what you're looking for. Like Terrence Crawford said after he knocked out De'Aaron Jean, because De'Aaron Jean was talking some trash before. He was like, I hope did you get what you was looking for? Did you get what you were looking? That's how I feel. Life is going to treat you the same way. Did you get what you were looking for? You fought in a way that was literally tailor-made for what Pitbull Cruz does well. So Pitbull Cruz is the guy that had more fights at this new division, right? Why on earth would you be fighting Pitbull Cruz, who anybody with a brain knows Pitbull Cruz's MO? All you have to do is watch the man fight 1 or 2 times, and you know the drilly. Even rapper Lil Bootsy, he just tweeted after the fight, I love watching David Benavidez. I love watching Pitbull Cruz, because it's guaranteed it's going to be some action. Fair assessment. Fair. That's very fair. You watch Pitbull Cruz especially, right? He kind of got one mode. I think David Benavidez has more tools, of course, where he could box more if he wanted to. But Pitbull Cruz, they call him like Mexican Mike Tyson or whatever. He's going to wing shots. He's going to miss. He's going to connect. He's kind of one-dimensional. And I told you this before the fight. The videos are still up. I told you that Pitbull Cruz is kind of a one-dimensional fighter, but you have to know how to deal with that one dimension, because he's very comfortable in that. And that's sometimes when you get these gritty fighters from Mexico, you get these tough, durable fighters from Argentina and different Venezuela and these different places, South America, right? You get these fighters who they are very comfortable in their own skin, right? And they know what they're capable of doing, and they try to execute. So for real, Pitbull lives up to his name. He's going to give you a Pitbull fight each and every time out. Low to the ground, no neck, real stocky, try to come with the Mike Tyson, less the head movement. He don't really have head movement and upper body. Like prime Mike Tyson was like super like moving it, you know what I mean? Like he had more bounce. But you got a great value version of that Pitbull Cruz. So my question is to all the Lamont Roach apologists, why on earth would you come out in the first half of the fight fighting in a shootout fashion with Pitbull Cruz as the smaller man? Like everything's against you. You're in San Antonio. You know the Latinos and the Hispanic fans outnumbered whatever fans you had. That was very apparent. Anything Pitbull did drew a reaction. When he was doing the Gene Simmons from Kiss, you know what I mean? All that. That crowd, and they was feeling it. So Lamont Roach is responsible for these fights that he's having. I firmly believe it. These fighters should know. I mean, I'm a YouTuber and content creator, and I know you the fighter in the fight, so you should know. If that makes sense. Like everything I said, I was like, you better fight Pitbull Cruz in the right way, because if you don't fight Pitbull Cruz in the right way, this is what could happen, right? So how is it that a silly YouTuber is able to foreshadow, but you got Lamont Roach who comes out and he's fighting mad aggressive? What this fight reminded me of is, on a smaller scale, Timothy Bradley versus Ruslan Provodnikov. In the fact that you had a guy who is in shape, Bradley, in shape, Roach, has more boxing ability than the guy you're fighting, right? Roach has more skill and boxing ability and ring IQ than Pitbull. Bradley had more skill and pure boxing ability than Ruslan. And yet you're in a fight that you are leaving up to interpretation because you're trying to prove a point. Now, for Bradley, he was on some people are mad. They were sending me death threats because I beat Pacquiao. People were upset with me. And now I'm going to show in this Ruslan Provodnikov fight that I could punch and all this type of stuff. So Bradley came in with a chip on his shoulder, and he almost paid because Ruslan got cracks, and you almost fought down to his level by doing it like that, right? You end up fighting a Ruslan Provodnikov style of fight, which doesn't even make any sense. It makes no sense at all to give your opponent something that otherwise wouldn't be there, right? Meaning you can fight. I don't like to use the boring and all that, but you can fight and mute what your opponent is doing, yet you're choosing to fight this way too aggressive style of fight. So for Lamont Roach, what this boils down to for me is you fought Gervonta Davis. You thought you beat him, which you didn't. And you then go on this whole little victory lap. And you're seeing a lot with Gen Z fighters where they're doing this, where they're not even winning, but they have like a victory lap in a loss tour or a draw tour. Like Berlanga loses to Canelo, and he with the Puerto Rican Rough Riders and filming videos, almost like he's on a victory tour, like he beat Canelo. And it is really bizarre. And for me, it's really, really weird. Like, as a man, I am a man. I am competitive. Do not like to lose at all. For me, it don't make no sense at all to have a fight not achieve the end result that I want, the actual goal of winning or becoming a champion or whatever, and then celebrating and moving around as if I won. So I think for real, that was Lamont Roach's first problem. I think he got big-headed after the fight with Tank, and he ended up feeling like he could fight any type of way, and I think it ultimately cost him the fight. I truly believe this. It ultimately cost him the fight because at the end of the day, you could have made this a very easy fight. And boxers do not have to listen to me. I'm Boxingego. I do what I do. They could do what they do, right? They don't have to listen to me. However, there's a benefit if you do listen to me, because if you heed what Boxingego is saying, you can then in turn do what you want to do, or you at least have a better fighting chance. For example, Lamont Roach wanted to become a 2-division champion. It was on the table for you, right? You didn't get blown out or anything like that. Some people even thought you won. But you could have made this a fight where there's no question. Because for real, if I'm being honest, Jose El Rayo Valenzuela did better than Lamont Roach. You could put that in your pipe and smoke it. I'm going to say it again. El Rayo did better than Lamont Roach because he stuck to a game plan. So for me, El Rayo, he showed a lot more discipline and poise in his performance with Pitbull Cruz, nullifying the threat. And to be honest, that was impressive given the fact of El Rayo he already had a shootout with Edwin De Los Santos and got knocked out for it. So I think he learned from that, right? He learned from the fact that he had a shootout and it didn't go his way. So against another guy, he could have done the same thing and he would have made the Pitbull Cruz fight a lot harder. It was on the Crawford-Madrimov card. I remember it perfectly, right? So El Rayo could have made his night just as tough as Lamont Roach, or even worse, if he tried to over-engage with Pitbull Cruz. I told you guys this from the beginning because I am the best in the business and it's not even close. The stuff I say, take it to the bank, period. So I think if Lamont Roach wasn't an egomaniac after the Tank fight, he would have won this fight with a better game plan, period. You're fighting down to your opponent. And then in that third round, I believe it was, you got timed, you got clipped with a big hook and rolled back and fell back and all that, and your glove touch, that's an automatic 10-8 round. Automatic 10-8 round. Judges see that, the crowd went crazy, and then Pitbull hopped on you. Easy round to score. If you don't allow that to happen, who knows? Judges could have shaded that round to you. But when you get knocked down in a round, it's not the end of the world, especially early. However, you're already putting yourself at a deficit. This is completely Lamont Roach's fault. I firmly believe it. I said it in my post-fight, and I'm go down with that ship. I truly believe that. You fought the wrong game plan, and now you're crying over it didn't go your way. Then we find out you picked up an injury. Roll the clip.
I honestly don't remember what exactly did it, but I know when I came back to that corner, I told him, I said, man, I think I broke my hand, and I knew when I came out the next round, he jabbed me and I blocked it, and it hurt, and I was like, it's fucked. So.
Boxingego don't know what he's talking about. Then explain that. Lamont Roach, post-fight Pitbull Cruz, admits that he probably has a fractured or broken hand, right, from the Pitbull Cruz fight.
I honestly don't remember what exactly did it, but I know when I came back to that corner, I told him, I said, man, I think I broke my hand, and I knew when I came out the next round, he jabbed me and I blocked it, and it hurt, and I was like, it's fucked. So, I still continued to try to throw it. Like you said, it was openings, but my hand was really, 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 really hurting. And I'm not trying to make that as an excuse. I used everything else I had, and I succeeded. I did well. I got out of the way of his punches for the most part, and when I wanted to exchange, I was winning the exchanges. Other than that, I was catching the punches and slipping his punches. I just don't, I don't really, I don't want to make this an excuse. I think I did well enough to win with one hand.
And Just talk to me about the official knockdown. Obviously, he caught you. You kind of flew backwards into the ropes. The ref stopped it. Just to talk to me about that and just how hurt were you really? It didn't seem like it was too hurt, but obviously.
Nah, I wasn't that. I wasn't hurt. I wasn't like hurt. He just hit me with a good shot. We exchanged. I was on my back foot, and I stumbled. My glove touched the ground, so that's an official knockdown. What's up, buddy? What's up? How you doing?
All right, we now have in the room Isaac Pitbull Cruz. Again, like Lamont Roach, showing what a true champion he truly is tonight. What an incredible matchup between these two. Opening comments for Isaac Pitbull Cruz.
So you messed up your hand. And the funny thing, I find it funny, not that a person got injured, of course. I'm not that sinister and sick with it. But I find it funny because, in my opinion, what this was a whole lot of pride. And in my opinion, I believe Lamont Roach knew that, like, I've told you guys this from the beginning. All roads lead to Gervonta Davis. And Lamont Roach, I truly believe, felt, yes, Pitbull fought other people like El Rayo and lost. Yes, he fought other people like Rolly. But the name that put Pitbull kind of on the map was Gervonta Davis. The name everybody remembers in Pitbull's whole catalog is the biggest star, Gervonta Tank Davis. So I am of the belief that Lamont Roach, Drawmont Roach, actually wanted to upstage and outdo Gervonta Davis. So he was trying to make a statement, and he was trying to do better than Tank Davis. But in the end, you failed because you had a busted lip, which you guys can see here, and you're icing your fat lip, right? He got a fat lip. You got a fat lip, doggy. And you had a draw, whereas you're like, oh, man, but I fought with one hand. Guess what Tank Davis did? Guess what the boy Gervonta Davis did? He hurt his hand, and he fought better than you with a hurt hand, and he didn't have a busted lip, and he didn't get touched, and he didn't get dropped, but all this stuff applies to you. So you say, oh, but Boxingego, that doesn't make sense. It makes perfect sense. Two people fought the same guy, and the outcomes were completely different. Gervonta Davis, who's not even known as, he's known as a brute, an enforcer, right? The power guy. The power guy fought and boxed better with a hurt hand than the guy who don't have power like that in Lamont Roach. This is part of the problem. I've tried to tell you, I am the best in the business. I speak eloquently. I'm very direct. I'm very blunt. If you don't get it, it's probably a you problem. I told you that these Gen Z fighters, a lot of them, they are trying and attempting to be something they are not, which leads to these results. You got an actual big puncher in Gervonta Davis who knew this guy is pretty durable. He's smaller than me, so he's at a different angle than taller opponents that I'm used to, right? Because most of Tank's opponents are bigger and taller than him, right? I need to fight him a certain way, especially with a wounded hand. Lamont Roach being prideful and trying to outdo Gervonta Davis, he's trying to fight him like Rambo, and then you end up with a busted lip, getting knocked down, a draw, and you break your hand in the fight, right? When you could have just made this a simple fight, because I looked at some of the later rounds when you actually incorporated and applied what I've said in real time to the fight, and you started boxing, you had the best success. Then you really start to put together. There were moments where Lamont Roach was the matador, right? And he was even doing it like, Olay, and the bull was frustrated. You could have kept that up, and then you would be a champion right now. So I 100% blame Lamont Roach. You were trying to outdo Gervonta Davis, and you're not even a puncher like that. You might have decent or respectful power, respectable, but you trying to fight like something you're not. And I blame the Gen Z fighter. These dudes are delusional. Instead of using and utilizing the tools that they have and being content with that, they always try to bite off more than they can chew, and that leads to problems. When Devin Haney fought Ryan Garcia, same deal. Devin is not the puncher in that situation at 140. Ryan missed weight. Why are you trying to gun him down like you Triple G with the power or something?
Hell no, guys. Hey, Max, guys, nah, big drama show. Nah, in Kazakhstan.
Like, why are you fighting him like that? And then you get clipped up and hurt multiple times, and now everybody's holding that fight against you. Lamont Roach, you keep getting these Badu Jack type of draws because you're fighting like Bradley fought Ruslan Provodnikov. It's that simple. To further illustrate my point, listen to Lamont Roach, what he said pre-fight. See, I study the game. I listen to what people are telling me, man. And Lamont Roach kept saying that he was going to knock out Pitbull Cruz. You didn't even come close. Tank Davis, Gervonta Davis, told you the man got a hard head, and he hurt his hand punching up Pitbull Cruz. He told the whole world post-fight, the dude got a hard head, and that's why I hurt my hand hitting him. And then you got Lamont Roach trying to outdo that, and then you find out the harder way. And now, like Tim and Anthony, you find out the harder way. That's a bar. And then now you're like, man, these judges won't give me a fair shake. I can't get a fair shake. This is your fault. Rounds 11, 12, Pitbull, I think, closed it very well. So it made Pitbull started off good and ended good. You were kind of in the middle with the better performances. And I think Pitbull had the more true 10-8 round. With his knockdown was just a clean knockdown. Roach even admitted that. The 10-8 round that Roach got was really not, it was like BS to me, right? So that is why Lamont Roach lost or had a draw or whatever and didn't achieve what he wanted to achieve, in my honest opinion. It was a winnable fight, but when you start trying to be someone you're not, you see with Shakur Stevenson. He trying to like, I'm going to knock this guy out. And remember he said he was going to knock out Artem Haratunian. I'm going to knock him out. I'm going to knock him out. I'm going to knock him out. You're not necessarily a knockout artist. So it doesn't mean you can never get a knockout. It means you're going to have to approach it in the right way to achieve the knockout. You know what I mean? And the thing is, these fighters are, a lot of them are kind of like egomaniacs where instead of just doing what's right, they go on this rogue game plan. Even Lamont Roach's pops was like, why are you showboating? F all that. Win the rounds. Pick your hands up. What are you doing? So everything that happened, I'm glad it happened. Now you can run back the rematch and listen to Boxingego and see if you could get it right. But your own dad was telling you to stop showboating and doing all this stuff. This becomes a pride thing. But I don't want to hear fighters crying about the outcome when the win was achievable and within your grasp if you didn't fight like a maniac, right? All that fighting for the crowd and I'm not boring and stuff, you would be a lot more marketable and less boring if you fight in the right way. Because if Lamont Roach from pillar to post, he could have BTA type of performance, right? If he fought the right way, and then everything will come to you. Maybe you stop or drop Pitbull Cruz, and you're going to get a lot more credit if that were to happen. But instead, you got a broke hand, a busted fat lip, and no title, and you scored a draw doing it your way. So that, to be honest, that's what you get. You try to upstage and outdo Gervonta Davis, and Pitbull Cruz was clocking you up. You boxed well in the middle, and now you could gripe about it or you can improve. It is that simple. But I have no mercy when somebody has the potential and the capability, but they don't put it all together. That's a you problem, right? It's one thing if you take some kind of test and you tried your hardest and you're not good enough. I can live with that. But for me, what I can't live with is the times where I know I should have won or I should have achieved said goal, but I don't achieve it because I didn't get my sleep together. I didn't take it serious. I procrastinated. I can't live with that. I can only live with I tried and I failed, but I gave it my best. And I feel like these fighters, they're fighting off fumes and pride and being egotistical, but all of the attention you got from the Tank fight, you could have built on that. But now back-to-back draws, it really pushes you back and humbles you because now you were talking about fighting Gary Antoine Russell, Shakur Stevenson. I don't want to see none of that, bro. You can't even beat Pitbull Cruz, mad one-dimensional, and you were the bigger fighter that outweighed him. And you're the smarter fighter. So I don't want to hear nothing about Shakur or Teofimo winner or Gary Antoine Russell fights. Or this is the same guy. I told you he's big-headed. And he like literally got a big head. Pause. This is the same guy who was like, why should I put up my title to Gary Russell Jr.? What has he done? You can't even beat Pitbull Cruz, bro. You can't even beat Pitbull Cruz convincingly enough for the judges. And then you're breaking your hand and stuff. You got to clear this up now. So the rematch should definitely be next. I'm done talking about it. We unpacked. Live streaming can be tough, which is why I use StreamYard. Click the link in the description for StreamYard, which is an awesome tool that enables you to set up your stream with ease of use. Get great results with live streaming. It's what I use. Stream to social media with ease with StreamYard. Live streaming is here to stay. Engage with your audience using StreamYard. Great way to reach out to your audience and connect. So you need a tool that can do that. If you're new to YouTube and you're struggling to get views, one tool I can provide to you is TubeBuddy. I've been on YouTube over 10 years. I use TubeBuddy daily to crank out videos just like this one that you're watching. Learn how the pros do it with TubeBuddy. YouTube receives a lot of traffic, which also means a lot of creators, a lot of people putting out content. So you need to learn the ropes so you know how to separate yourself, especially if you're new, but even if you're a pro, use TubeBuddy. The link is in the description. Get more views, more subscribers, and a higher click-through rate, so ultimately you can realize all of your online goals. Use my affiliate link in the description and grow your channel fast.